It's me. Hi everyone, welcome to the show. So today we're going to talk about self-image. Ooh, I mean, a very fitting day because this is the hottest I've ever looked. Am I right? Huh? My self-image, body image, it's gone through fluctuations throughout the years. I have struggled. And not just in terms of physical appearance, but just your general, the way you present to the world. It's hard to be judged. I think we're all very self-critical, but I want to dive deep a little bit into more of the nuances of things. Today's guest is one of the coolest people on the planet, so we're all lucky to be blessed with her presence. But before we get too far into it, let's see what the cards have to say, shall we? Whoa! 2 cards flew out. So we have the Strength card and the 8 of Swords. I'm going to start with the 8 of Swords. If you look at the imagery on this card, I mean, she's basically got her head down, she's blindfolded, and she has all these swords pointed at her neck. There's something that's making you feel completely stuck, there's no way out. But the point of this card is to show you that it's all an illusion. If she just took off the blindfold and just took stock of her situation, she might be able to find a way out. And then on the other hand, we have the Strength card. There's a woman pictured here with a lion, but that lion represents the strength within her, that courage that she can summon whenever she needs to. Whatever it is that's making you feel really stuck, really afraid, you have the strength within you to deal with it. The answers are already within you. So be brave and take off the blindfold. Let's get into it. My love life has been really chaotic lately, and I decided very recently that I was gonna open myself up to some love. So what did I do? I went on a date. First mistake. I go out with this guy and we start doing that first date interview thing. And the first question is, what's your biggest pet peeve in other people? And he goes, I just don't really like it when people post a lot on social media. Oh, I guess I should have told you what my job was before we met up, huh? Before I jumped down his throat, I inquired. I was like, what does it say to you when somebody posts a lot on social media? And he's like, well, I think it shows that they're very vain. Don't worry, yes, I did school him, but that's not the point. The point is vanity. I didn't think that I was a vain person. I don't think that I'm a very vain person. In my opinion, I think vanity is a lack of depth, and it really is somebody who's kind of surface level, only really cares about their appearance and those visual things. That's really not me. I may have been a little bit more vain when I was younger. I think we all are. But as I've gotten older, I've really just kind of pushed away these expressions of beauty, because for such a long time, I feel that's what I've been reduced to. I stopped shaving my legs years ago for a number of reasons. I mean, I stopped shaving kind of most things just because I felt I was doing it for someone else. I felt I was doing it because I was just supposed to, but I don't really care to shave. I get a lot of ingrowns. What's the point? Am I vain because I like makeup and fashion and clothes? Or is that just a misogynistic thing? Because at the end of the day, I view fashion and makeup and things like that. I view it like art. I mean, look at what, this isn't practical, okay? This is a resin dress. I made this to because it's cool. I don't know. Speaking of, maybe I should tell you about today's look. Ooh, little segue. Today's look is called Sold with a U. It's about selling my soul for the looks, which I feel the world kind of did for me without my consent. I always feel people see my body first, or they see the way that I look first, which I guess is normal. First impressions, they're a thing. But I find that people either write me off because of the way that I look, or they think that I'm a certain way. They think I'm bitchy. A lot of people just assume that I'm just a huge cunt. I don't know what that is. Because of people's opinions, sometimes it just doesn't feel this belongs to me. I made this dress out of resin, and I wanted it to be molded to my body, so I literally covered myself in plastic wrap, put this on my body, and then put resin. I mean, I could go on and on about the metaphors, sacrificing my body for the art, you get it. It's just so easy to feel your body doesn't belong to you. So that's kind of what today's all about. I mean, my appearance is always a fucking topic of conversation. I can't go one day without somebody commenting something on my appearance. It's not negative. It's nice to have people say, no, you know what? It's not, because most of the time it's comments ugh, I wish I had your body. And that's you're basically just saying, ugh, I hate myself. Thanks for telling me. It's not a compliment, and it's not, I don't like it. Why? What's wrong with your body? Your body's fine. I think you're so pretty. I don't know. Those kinds of things make me really uncomfortable because a lot of the times, even though people think that they're complimenting me, they kind of spew a lot of their trauma in like some weird backhanded compliment way when I don't want to be reduced to my body either. And it's gotten better. I don't think we comment on bodies quite as much. But like, I definitely have a bit of pretty privilege. It doesn't feel like a privilege all the time, but it absolutely is. I think beauty is just defined in so many different ways. Like, I don't think that I'm some like God's gift. I think that I just hit this certain standard, but like, who created that? People trying to sell products. It's not even a real thing. It's just like shaving was literally, that was never a thing for women. The only reason they started saying that body hair on women was gross was so that they could sell razors to women because they were only selling them to men. So it's like all of these things are based in like, I mean, misogyny, racism, capitalism. There really is a lot of advantages that come with being like conventionally attractive. You know, doctors don't blame my issues on my weight. I'm able to find clothes. My voice is heard in spaces. I have access to like certain jobs. You know, these are all like very real things. But also a real thing is that I'm a person who has experienced a lot of trauma in relation to my appearance. I think sometimes a lot of people get triggered in this like privilege conversation because they think that like acknowledging it like somehow means that they haven't suffered, but like multiple things can be happening at the same time. Like, yes, doctors don't blame my issues on my weight, but also like many other doctors have completely ignored my issues because of the way that I look, in particular in the mental health space. So like one thing doesn't cancel out the other. I suffered from an eating disorder. I have like major self-esteem issues, self-critical. I work in entertainment. You can imagine how much criticism I soak in on a daily basis. But yet somehow people just assume that I'm like happy because I'm pretty or that I have like no problems. It's a helpful advantage. But also I get reduced to my appearance all the time. Women hate me for no reason. Men see me as like a conquest. Like I don't get a lot of people who like want to know me. A lot of people want to have me or say that they know me, but not a lot of people like want to like know me. I just sometimes feel like people have the wrong idea of me. It's like the outside doesn't match the inside. I'm a weird Barbie, you know? I'm a weird Barbie through and through, but I'm like in a stereotypical Barbie body. This is like a really nuanced subject. Like I feel like an asshole talking about this. Like I feel like so many people are gonna be like, you're so conceited. And like, I don't blame you. I mean, I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I'm not gonna pretend I don't see what is there. Being reduced to the size and shape of your body and your appearance and what you look like is something that today's guest understands better than most. So last year at New York Fashion Week, I go to this random show and this woman walks in and it's like the whole room goes like she just, you know, those people that command a space and like you cannot help but just stare at them because their aura is incredible. That is Ebony, okay? I like muster up the courage to go and talk to her because I'm like, oh my God, this woman is amazing. I need to know her. Of course, she's like the nicest person ever. So we totally hit it off. Now, Ebony's an influencer who's Black and plus size. So her and I, we both love shopping, but our experiences have been very different.
You were just doing vocal warm-ups for this episode, which is pretty hardcore. When did you start doing opera singing?
I started singing opera in college. I started as a pianist first.
No way.
Loved piano, begged my parents to put me in, and I was like 5 then. And so I did piano all the way up until I was 18. But I really loved singing, and I wanted to sing, but I was pretty shy about it. So I got into choir in high school, and my teacher, she kind of encouraged me to go into singing in college.
I wonder how that translates into your fashion. Is there any inspiration that you pull from your musical experiences into your fashion world?
Honestly, I think it's the other way around.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
So in the classical space is very conservative, right? And one of my first inspirations was my grandmother, my mom's mom. She slayed a look, no matter when or where, especially at church.
What is it with grandmas?
Look.
Grandmas serve looks, man.
They do.
They always do. My Nana is so stylish. Tell me more.
Look, she gets a full suit set, gets her matching hat. She makes sure I have my tights. Because the funny thing is my parents are really like sporty. And so they loved like the 90s, like Aaliyah, baggy pants, Tim,
Right.
stuff like that. But my grandmother was much more on the feminine side. So she loved like the dresses and the tailored suits and things like that. And that would be my opportunity to wear that stuff because I was more of a girly girl at heart.
Yeah.
Even though my parents were more sporty.
You're like, listen, I'm gravitating more into the high fashion energy
Yes.
than I am into the streetwear. Would you say that your grandma's one of your biggest inspirations for fashion?
I think so. Yeah, because she was the first plus size person I saw with my own eyes that young that really just lived in her body, lived in what she had. She never really downplayed herself or said, oh, you know, I don't know how I feel about this. Growing up as like a fat child is kind of rough though, because back in the day, there was no plus for the misses, for the
Yeah.
girls. So you had to get stuck in like the women's sections. And so you're 11 years old and you're wearing the same thing your grandma's wearing.
You're
It's
going to
crazy.
Reitman's.
Yeah.
No. Oh, that sucks.
It was a struggle for a long time.
You're like, where's my unicorn t-shirt? Like, what the hell?
I just wanted to wear a Barbie t-shirt. Like, what's going on?
Pretty traumatizing.
Oh, yeah.
Shopping and clothes carry so much trauma for people. You want
Yes.
to tell me a little bit about your experience with that?
Yes. I think I got to a certain point in my young adulthood that I said, I'm never shopping in store again. It's just the industry trying to expand and get into your department stores and things like that. It's just not fast enough and it's not intentional enough.
Yeah.
Growing up as a child, you can't find clothes. You can't look like everybody else at school. Then in your young adulthood, when you're like, okay, well, maybe I can get some stuff. The main places that were popping when I was a young adult, it was too expensive, right? I'm getting into college, 18, 19.
Yeah.
I want to shop,
Yeah.
but can I afford $50 for jeans? No, not on a college student
$5
salary.
max.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's limiting pretty much your entire life.
That's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's something that, you know, I get comments occasionally sometimes from people that kind of say like, oh, this is so nice that you can wear that. It's just, I wish I could wear something like that. Or I wish
Right.
something like that was available for me. And I find that really sad, particularly like the funkiness of
Yeah.
these clothes, because we talked a bit about this last night about how there is options. You can find
Right.
something, but is it cute? Like, most of the time it's not.
Right.
How do you navigate finding like cooler things for yourself that actually fit?
So I delved straight into online. I
Right.
started to search, where can I find plus size clothes? And this is me 1-2X realm trying to find stuff. I came across ASOS for the first time.
Oh, ASOS.
I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, there's color. We have mini lengths because I'm 5'2".
Oh yeah, that's true. You're
So,
quite short. Yeah.
yeah.
You're a little girl.
Look.
You're just a little girl.
I'm just a little girl.
She's a tiny girl. Watch out. 5'2" is legit. It's actually hard for people to shorties.
Yeah.
Jeans. You got to tailor everything. Yeah.
Everything.
It's rough.
And with plus sizes, they assume, just like in big and tall, that you're big and tall.
Yeah.
You're not tall. I'm 5'2".
I'm big enough short. Like, what is going on? That's actually really true. When the sizes go up, they go up in both directions.
Exactly.
That's frustrating.
And so it's like, okay, ooh, this mini will actually fit like knee length on me, or oh, they have crop pants. They'll be
They'll be
regular
full length.
length. Yeah. You know,
just buy
just
capris.
little stuff like that. I think people don't think about like, oh my gosh, you really can't find clothes.
Yeah.
And it's expensive to tailor.
Yeah. ASOS is an affordable brand for the most part.
For the most part, they're getting a little high now.
Everything's getting a little high now. Jesus.
That post-COVID inflation is hitting.
Oh
but
my God. This is not the type of high we should all be getting. Let me
No.
tell you.
No.
No.
as a consumer, I can already tell that a lot of stores didn't carry past XL, 2XL. As a employee of a department store, I can see firsthand, even though I was in the plus size section, 9 times out of 10, those 3 and 4Xs were rarely there. Anything past a size 22 was rarely there. Anyone past a 3X would struggle in the plus size section.
Yeah.
When I worked at Nordstrom in the plus size section, we had to carry everything plus size. Regular wear, evening wear, athletic wear.
Right.
But we have an evening section in the department. We have an athletic section in the department, right? And so it's like, yes, this may sound more convenient to have everything in one section, but it's limited because we have limited space, which means we also have limited money to buy pieces. And so, yeah, the size range is going to suffer. The quality is going to suffer. Rather than having some of those other departments foot the bill and let's stock up these plus sizes in our sections, we have to stock everything in ours.
Right. Do you think that it would be better just to have everything together instead of having a plus size section and you just have sizes?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I know
I'm with
some
you.
people may feel like I just rather go to my section so I don't have to sift through everything. And I totally get that. But I think that until everything is available in every subset,
Right.
I think that's going to actually benefit because, as I said, the plus size sections or stores don't have to foot so much of the bill to provide
Right.
Every aspect of plus size fashion.
Right.
So, yeah, and that can even go down to shoes. You know?
Interesting. Tell me more.
So with shoes, a lot of the plus size girls have wide feet or wide calves.
Yeah.
And
Boots.
exactly.
Oh, I just watched Trisha's freaking that boot. Trisha Paytas. She had these boots that she bought, and they were Gucci, and she wanted them so badly. They were pink, sparkly boots, and they were like thousands of dollars. She couldn't get them up her calf.
Yeah.
And Trisha Paytas is not big.
Right. Plus size stores, they have to provide your streetwear and everything plus shoes. That eats up a lot of the budget.
Yeah.
Trying to provide everything for one particular customer. Whereas if it was size inclusive across the board, then we can alleviate some of that funding and actually expand the size ranges, expand our variety, and things like that. So that's what I think personally.
I'm with you on that. I do think that it's important to acknowledge like the difficulties that different communities and different subsects of humanity experience.
Right.
I feel like the ultimate goal should always be to have it all together. Why should there be a plus size section? That doesn't make actually any sense. Why should there be a petite section? Why isn't it just here's the clothes because of these issues within the store and because it's difficult? This is why you choose to mostly online shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because online shopping, you can just go to the website, buy it. Of course, you have to know your measurements.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's hit or miss too, but in store, you don't find much.
Right. And cooler stuff is online too.
Cooler stuff is online. I really liked ASOS because it wasn't as niche. Like I loved ModCloth for some of the really fun niche pieces.
Yeah.
But ASOS felt like this could be my entire closet and I wouldn't have to second guess. And like the dresses I was looking at was like $20 to $30. That's
sick.
more up my alley.
That is the vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a cheap girl. I can't really justify spending a ton of money on clothes.
Yes.
And that's something I think maybe people who are plus size often have to face a little bit more because I notice at the big and tall stores, that shit is expensive.
Yes.
More material, my ass. Like
Right.
that doesn't make sense. What do you think about that?
As you just said, the more material is very much so a scapegoat.
Totally.
ASOS now it leans more fast fashion than like really quality pieces or things like that.
Yeah.
I used to work at Nordstrom, so the designer pieces were there and you can tell the difference and I understand the price point.
Yeah.
But for fast fashion, to pay hundreds of dollars for that makes no sense to me because it doesn't last.
No.
And 9 times out of 10 doesn't even feel good to wear.
Not at all. No, because you spent too much money on it and it's itchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Zara should be in jail.
Look,
Ridiculous.
have a great PR team because everybody is doing a Zara haul or a Zara something.
Oh my gosh.
The PR team needs a raise. But me personally,
I'm not a Zara girl.
Yeah.
Jinx.
We live in a world of like convenience, and I think sometimes it's so easy to forget that certain things that are super easy and accessible to you and I are just not accessible to people who are different, even in the slightest ways. I think it's kind of silly that I have such an easy time shopping. You know, I never struggle to find my size. There's always tons of options, and I'm not an average size. There's so much wrong with like the fashion world. Sizes are so inconsistent. There's like lies being told left, right, and center. I mean, it goes deep, and us individual consumers are now holding the weight of like this destroyed world from capitalism, and now we're like, oh, I gotta buy fucking paper straws to save the world. But in the grand scheme of things, even shopping sustainably isn't really accessible for everyone, specifically not plus size people.
I like to say that I'm a sustainability queen, or I try to be.
Yeah.
Now, I have the option to go thrifting, which I've heard from a lot of friends that thrifting is not an option for people who are plus size. And I just want to hear a little bit about that from you.
Plus size shopping in the thrifting space is kind of non-existent. I think the last time I thrifted something from like a Goodwill, I was a solid 8, maybe 16, 18. And
Damn.
I think I barely could get some, pieces. They had like an elastic waistband or something like that.
Right.
I think a lot of plus size people, one, hold on to our clothes.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's such a like catastrophe sometimes. You
Yeah.
can just get these pieces that you want. Like, why would you be donating? It's not like you're buying a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if we're getting fast fashion, we probably wear it down to the ground.
Yeah,
So
true.
it's not really like wearable. In my experience, trying to even donate my stuff, sometimes people don't take it. Like if I try to go the consignment shop route.
Yeah.
They are very specific about seasons and, this is too bright and we need something that's a little more neutral, that's actually going to sell. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're too fashionable and you're trying to work with a consignment shop, you have like some really good designer pieces or things like that. They're like, girl, it's not going to sell. We need like a navy pantsuit or something.
Okay. Not the fucking navy pantsuit. Maybe a petty question, but I'm curious to know whether or not you thought any of that might have been about the size of your clothes.
I think so. I think that a lot of people turn away plus size clothing because of the size. It doesn't look sexy on the rack.
Yeah, it does. Are you kidding me? It owns the rack.
Oh, look.
Literally. Yeah,
Look.
I'm with
But
you.
also, it's them trying to like do damage control. Like, we don't get enough plus size clientele that come in here, so it's going to sit, blah, blah, blah.
That bugs me a lot, that idea that there's we don't get plus size clientele. Of course you're not getting a lot of clientele. You're not providing any type of service to them.
Right.
So I find that argument to be just so illogical and so silly. What's your litmus test for seeing whether or not a brand is like, okay, they're just doing like a diversity check or they actually really care about this?
I check the size chart first. If you're stopping at 3X, I'm already giving a side eye. And then if I look at the measurements and the measurements is giving 1X, but you say it's a 3X,
Yeah.
I'm giving a double side eye. And I'm
I
not
hate that.
doing it.
People are thinking, oh, I'm stocking plus size because they're carrying 1X. But like you
Right.
mentioned to me yesterday, inclusivity looks a lot different than that. It does not stop at 1X.
Yeah.
What would your ideal size range be?
I think the girls in the plus size space would love to see, at minimum, a 6X present. I think.
Yeah.
There are some brands that are already doing infinity sizing.
What's infinity sizing?
It's basically she's making it to order, essentially.
Oh, cool.
So it's a brand called Connolly McDougal.
Probably more expensive.
It is. But the pieces are quality, and it's the fact that you can actually have something.
Yeah.
Because
That's
other
made for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's made for you. They make sure to ask for measurements and things like that too. So it's kind of like custom made, but they also have like standard sizes available if you don't want anything custom. But yeah, the size chart, I think that at minimum, we're looking for at least a 6X.
Yeah, that feels pretty bare minimum.
Yeah.
There's a really great dress company on TikTok. It's a small business.
Right.
She comes out with sizes up to 3X, which is pretty good for a small business.
Yes.
Obviously, it's not perfect, but I think it's better than most.
Right.
And she got roasted, okay? People were like, you suck.
Yikes.
I'm like, go call Zara and get mad at them. Okay,
Yeah.
why are we getting mad at this girl? Anyways, she took the feedback. She came out with 3 more sizes
I
up
love
to 6X,
that.
literally a month later. You're looking at a small business who gets one bit of feedback, which the feedback was already like a bit
Yeah.
quick. Okay, give her a minute. But she just immediately went and did it. We need to stop allowing brands to say that it's not possible.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's actually quite easy.
Oh, yeah.
You're making the clothes.
Especially if you've been in business 5, 10 plus years, like
20.
Let's get really
Come
real.
on.
You have accumulated enough resources to make this happen. You don't want to.
It really comes down to people's opinion of anybody who is a different size than them. And it actually brings me to that question. How do you feel about the word fat?
I have reclaimed the word over the years.
As you should.
I follow a lot of great people who really focus on fat liberation and making sure that fat is used more of just like a term to describe something versus like an attack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I am fat. So I shouldn't be offended by that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just kind of taking the power away from people trying to make us feel less than for being what we are, who we are, how we show up. And so I don't have an issue with the term fat. I know a lot of other people may still feel some type of way because there's trauma behind it, obviously.
Of course.
But me personally, I'm using it. You're not going to be able to use it against me.
Yeah.
I know that.
Tell them.
That's my girl.
And not that it's on the same level of trauma, but you
Yeah.
know, you could even argue that it's a little bit similar to how some people in the Black community choose to use the N-word.
Yeah.
And they take it back and they reclaim it. And that can be really empowering.
It is. Even with the Black community, and you're talking about the N-word and things like that. Universally now, we know that there's repercussions for that.
Yeah.
Right?
I think we're aware. People have learned their lesson.
Look,
My God.
I'm not saying that using the term fat should have repercussions or anything, but at the same time, it should be something that is not used to attack others.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah. Intention is everything.
Yeah.
I actually have a tattoo of the word slut.
Really?
Yeah, I do. You want to see
I
it?
love that.
Look, it's right there.
I
You see
love
it?
that.
So I got it because when I was in high school, people used to call me a slut all the time, and I was a virgin. I
Oh,
just thought it
girl.
was so backwards. And that word followed me for years. Actually, I used to joke that I would get it tattooed, but I never thought anybody would ever do that. And then I happened to see somebody on Instagram who had it tattooed, and I immediately was like, no, I'm doing it. I'm gonna
love
do
that.
it. And the second I did, it was like I took back all those like hurt feelings that I had from being called a word for so long.
Right.
And now I'm like, I'm a slutty hoe. And fun fact, the word slut actually historically, it was used to describe women who were like messy. So like if a woman went out without her hair done, they'd call her a
screaming.
slut. Yeah, it had nothing to do with any sexual. Isn't that so funny?
It is.
And so I'm like, messy and unkempt, that is so me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it tattooed. Why not? Yeah. So I love the idea of reclaiming words, and I think that's cool.
I love that.
It can be really healing.
Yes. And also shielding.
Like a protective
Yeah.
energy.
So obviously there's ways that I relate with Ebony, but I want to make it clear my experience is not the same, not at all. And I'm not trying to say that it's the same. I think sometimes within these conversations, there's so much separateness, and with acknowledgements of privilege, you know, again, don't freak out. Everybody's got privilege in small ways, and it doesn't mean that you haven't suffered or you haven't struggled. It's just like recognizing these like little leg ups that we have that we didn't earn. The way that I've found the most learning from people who are different than me is like by finding ways to connect and noticing the similarities.
And I think that the responsibility of our failed society shouldn't always just fall on the shoulders of those that it has failed. This is why we need men to speak up about women's issues. This is why we need rich people to speak up about poor people issues. That's how we make a difference. Having privilege, you know, even something as small as the safety to speak up is a huge gift that you can use to better the world. Everybody wins if we all suffer less.
You know, I grew up in a really small, conservative, like white ass town, and I'm a pretty woke girl, but there's just always things that we can learn and be better at and just like acknowledge. Because as a society, we should be all just kind of like working towards safety for everybody. And nobody's mad at you, you know? This is a safe space. I hope that's really clear.
The nuance that comes with not only being plus size, but being a Black plus size woman.
Yes.
That must add another layer of things.
When you dive into like the nuances of Blackness, early on, we get stereotypes about like being lazy and And that one in particular sticks out to me because fat people are all the time being stereotyped as lazy people.
Right.
And because you're lazy, you're dirty, you're unkept, you don't take care of yourself, you're unmotivated, you hate yourself.
Yeah.
And those are the things that really connect both blackness and fatness to me. And I struggle with fighting against that prejudice when meeting people, whether it's for work or just a one-off, I'm going to the store. Another reason why fashion is so important to me is because it ends up kind of confusing people a little bit. It makes them take a second look. I hate that has to happen for people to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a way for me to maneuver a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because if I just showed up as a regular fat black woman, it's like, why are you here? Why do you exist?
God. Because I haven't experienced some of that trauma, it's easy for me to bury my head in the sand. And I think a lot of people bury their head in the sand when it comes to that sort of thing. I've gotten comments from people who are plus size who tell me like, you don't really have a right to be speaking on this, or like, I don't want to hear from you. And I think it's fair, because at the end of the day, the very existence of me and the way that I am is triggering and traumatizing for people. Yeah. And that sucks because I have such bad body image issues. Ballerina, you can imagine.
Yeah. Oh, girl.
You can imagine.
I saw Black Swan. So
yeah, for real. Shit gets crazy. That was me. What do you think about somebody like me being a part of these conversations or being in this space? Just honest opinion.
It's nuanced, right? I understand the feedback that we don't want non-fat people having conversations that are particular to fat people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I like the idea of non-fat people doing the work, doing the research, and helping in bringing more awareness to the trials of being a fat person in society, right? My favorite quote is, "Anti-fatness hurts us all."
Ooh, I got shivvies. Yeah, that it really does.
It hurts us all because we all, regardless if you're fat or not, we're all living with the societal pressures and capitalistic marketing that tell us we have to look a certain way, even on the other side of the spectrum, right? If you're too thin, you're associated with illness and things like that.
Sickly, eat a burger.
Yeah. You know, anti-fatness tells us that we can't be fat, but we have to have the right fat in the right places, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's like a certain level of like acceptable fatness. Sometimes I do feel sad that a lot of our favorite celebrities who are plus size go through these massive transformations. How do you feel about, I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure we're all thinking of a few.
Right. Another nuanced situation.
Yeah.
I feel that we understand how difficult it is being a fat person moving in the world. And if you're in entertainment, that's heightened.
Yeah.
And I don't shame people for feeling like they need to make the changes in order to navigate a little bit easier, to deal with less trauma as you go along in this life. I hope that it's for healthy reasons. I hope that if it had to be done, it just had to be done, and not, I have some severe issues with body image and I'm just completely going under the knife or doing Ozempic or whatever just to change myself. It is what it is. I have empathy for people that struggle with that. As long as they're not turning around and talking down on the people that they were a part of, that community that they're a part of.
So certain Kardashians come to mind.
That is the
Chloe, my girl.
That is the only thing I'm like, look, do what you have to do. Be safe. Live your life.
But don't release a book called Revenge Body after.
Look, because it's like, what are you really doing? Like, seek a licensed professional.
Yeah.
Don't take it out on us.
Our body, our choice. Really, is what it comes down to.
That's the point.
It's just been so nice talking to you and hearing your perspective on a lot of this. I want to finish off maybe just if you have any like tips for plus size people who are shopping. We're not talking basics. Okay?
Yeah.
We're talking for the girlies and the guys that want to get something a little bit more like funky.
My main tip is measurements. Always have your measurements on deck. Because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have to shop online.
Which measurements are the most important?
They typically get the chest, waist, and hip measurements. Those are gonna be the most important.
Cool.
If you're worried about inseams and things being too long or too short,
I know you're not.
Look, you might have to go to your local tailor.
Yeah.
Because that, you know.
Or what do? You buy capris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. You know. But measurements are so important.
Yeah.
I think it saves us a lot of time and a lot of money. Also, do your best to research not just plus size stores, but look for like specific demographics. So like look Black owned shopping, because 9 times out of 10 a lot of the Black owned girls have plus sizes. Or look for sustainable places and you'll have some sustainable plus size brands. Or just look for brands in your city. Also, the UK, for some reason, has better size inclusive options than the US. In my experience, if they're not able to do the exchange and the shipping, then don't worry about it. But
you know, that's another thing. You don't think about simple stuff either. We're talking a lot about the funky stuff, but like finding bras and panties. What's your bra size?
My bra size is a 46G.
Dang, I wish I had G boobs. That's fucking badass.
Be careful what you wish for.
I know. Everybody tells me I'll have back pain, but you know what? I wouldn't mind a little bit. Okay, maybe even a B or a C cup would be nice. I'm done with my double A's. Oh my gosh, thanks for chatting with me. I can't believe we're in this beautiful room. Can you believe this is just a room in the hotel that Ebony's staying at?
What?
She's like, come to the hotel. I walk in, there's like a fucking art gallery down here.
It's exceptional.
Because it's really gorgeous.
Yeah. Shout out to the Modernist in Long Island City.
Yes, very good. I also just knew you were going to serve a look today. And I have to tell you that normally I do these in like sweats and t-shirts. But I was getting dressed this morning and I was like, that bitch is definitely going to serve a fucking look. I got to look good. So I put on an outfit.
And you look good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's that, you guys. That is Ebony. Oh my gosh, isn't she just a gift? I hope we all broadened our horizons a little bit today. It's nice to recognize the problems in our world and to kind of just like find ways of connecting with people, because everybody has their own struggles and their own differences and their own things going on. And most of the time we experience the same feelings, you know? They're just like from different things. And feelings can connect us, right? We should just have a lot of feelings. So thank you all so much for opening your mind up with me today. Don't forget to be kind to yourself and to others. Okay? Love you. Bye.